I have temporarily fitted a 2008 ZX7 engine into a 1994 ZX7. Before I start fabricating the final engine mounts, I need to test fit the fairings to ensure they fit properly and look as original as possible. I did say look as original as possible. Welcome back. The 2008 ZX7 engine has successfully been stuffed into a 1994 ZX7 frame. To accomplish this, we had to install the engine 6 millimeters from the center point of the frame and at an angle. In doing so, the left side of the motor, the stator cover, is now rubbing against the fairing and deforming it. Let's figure out what we need to do. Since I'll be removing the fairings frequently between the cuts, I'm going to be using socket head bolts. They don't strip as easily and they're easier to work with. The right side panel is touching the engine and needs to be trimmed by 2.5 centimeters. Usually I place tape over the part I'm going to mark, but this is relatively a straight, easy cut. The test fit shows the panel won't be touching the engine or the radiator hose. Custom fabrication can be challenging, and sometimes one solution can lead to another problem. For instance, fixing the panel to fit closer to the motor has now caused the exhaust to hit the bottom of the panel. Now let's see what we can do to remedy that problem. To fix the exhaust touching the lower body panel, I had to tilt the engine 6 millimeters lower at the front, and it worked. And now for the left panel. When cutting plastic, do not force the blade into the part. During the cutting process, plastic will heat up and might cause your grinder to jump. Use multiple passes if needed. Both panels fit the way I want. Now it's time for a final trim. Using a file is the best to achieve straight, finished results. They seem to look pretty clean. The left panel is touching the stator cover, so we're going to use masking tape. Masking tape is a great tool for marking the areas you want to cut. You can draw on the tape, and if you're not happy with your lines, you can peel it off and start over. You can do this as many times as you need until you get the right design. Just make sure you press the tape firmly onto the fairing to prevent any gaps or bubbles that could affect your accuracy. I'm going to take a measurement of approximately where the stator cover is touching the fairing. Mark it, remove the fairing, and then drill a hole. Then reinstall the fairing to see how accurate the location of the hole is. Do not drill into the plastic while still mounted on the motorcycle, as the drill could break through and go into the stator cover. The hole is spot on. Time to draw a small square and expand the opening. I'm placing a piece of wood between the engine and the fairing. The wood will help stabilize the fairing as I cut it with a Dremel, and it will also act as a buffer zone. Slowly keep drawing and cutting until the desired clearance has been achieved. For best results, before going any further, make sure the edges and the panel are clean. Once the desired size of the opening is achieved, it's time to design the actual opening. After making 5 designs, I chose the one that I think is best suited for the look. I printed the design on self-adhesive paper and centered it before sticking it to the panel. Then I traced the outline of the design with a permanent marker. First, we drill out all the corners before we commit to cutting with the Dremel. Using a Dremel is plain and simple, but the only suggestion I have is to use very light pressure. The cutting will melt the plastic because of the friction causing it to gum up around the cutting blade. This can make the blade grab and go further than you intended to. Slow and easy wins the race. Before we go any further, let's see how everything looks and fits. It's time to smooth out the edges and do the finishing touch. I believe it came out pretty good, and I might paint the stator cover in the blue pattern to break things up a bit, but that I'll have to leave it to the end of the build. And now, there is this issue. The tire is way too close to the lower fairing. To trim the panel so that I can clear the rear tire, I'm going to use a hole saw. To get a good even cut, both panels have to be secured to a piece of wood. Making subtle adjustments and cuts transform the end result into something even better than its initial state. It's amazing how small changes can make a significant impact. And that's a wrap. I hope you had fun watching me fit my motorcycle fairings to accommodate my ZX10R motor. Remember, the secret is to cut a little bit at a time and adjust as you go. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn. If you like this video, please smash the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and if you haven't, subscribe to my channel for more awesome content. And remember, always hug your pets. They deserve it. Bye for now.